Everybody, welcome to Managerial Accounting. It's part cost, volume, profit. This is part 5, composite units. Okay, so what exactly is a composite unit? Okay, so when we're looking at break even, what if we have a mix of products? If we have a mix of products, meaning that we're showing them or we're selling them in a ratio, we'll be using composite units to determine our break even. So for example, if you have a higher margin product versus a lower margin product, but for the higher margin product, you might not have as many people buying it. This might be the way to go. So when you get this type of question, our goal is to figure out, well, how many composite units will we need to sell in order to reach break even? So what you're going to find is that for this type of question, you're going to see the mix of products will be shown as a ratio. For every 10 units of product A we sell, we're going to sell 6 units of product B and 4 units of product C. And then for each product, you're going to be given the sales price and the variable cost for each product that we have. And then the break even for composite units can be defined by the following formula, which is going to be our fixed cost divided by the contribution margin per composite unit. Now, when we go through and determine what is this contribution margin per composite unit, what I need to do is I need to say, okay, I'm going to look at each product individually and figure out their contribution margin. So here for product A, we're going to have 100, variable cost of 80. That means my contribution margin per unit is 20. A minus B equals C. I'm going to do the same for product B, the same for product C. Once I have my contribution margin per unit, I'm going to multiply it by the ratio. For every 10 we sell 6 units of B and 4 units of C. I multiply my contribution margin per unit by the ratio, and this is going to give me my total contribution margin per composite unit. So once I divide this in, this is going to tell me how many composite units we're going to need to go through and to sell to achieve break even. So let's actually now take a look at this question a little bit more in detail. So let's go back over here. So we've got 3 products, A, B, and C. We have product A, product B, and we have product C. And let's make this nice and big for everybody, especially me. Okay, so my sales price per unit, variable cost per unit, and my contribution margin per unit. Okay, my sales price per unit is 100, variable costs are 80. So my contribution margin per unit is going to be 20 for product A. Next step over here is for product B, 80 per unit, sales price, 40 per unit, variable cost per unit. My contribution margin per unit is going to be $40 per unit. Product C has a sales price of 60, variable cost of 25. So my contribution margin per unit is 45. Notice I'm not adding anything up here on the columns, right? This is the number that I need. Now, my ratio in which I'm selling them is coming back over here, which is going to be, so from the problem that we were looking at earlier, which is this is the same one. For every 10 units of product A sold, I'm selling 6 units of product B and 4 units of product C. So if I call my ratio D, I take my C times the D, and this will give me my E. So 20 times 10 is 200, 40 times 6 is 240, 45 times 4 is 180. So my contribution margin per composite unit is going to be the sum of these 3 values right over here. Now, if I take my total fixed costs, and if I divide this by my contribution margin per composite unit, this will tell me the number of composite units that need to be sold to achieve break even. So this will be my composite units to be sold to achieve break even. Okay, so right over here, my fixed costs are 1,116,000. My contribution margin per composite unit is 620. So my composite units sold are going to be 1,800 composite units. So if I sell this many composite units, I know that my question hopefully will work. But now I'm over my time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video here. We're going to come back where we left off, and we're going to finish the question.